Cheers, John here. So we're having problems still with the Z-axis diving. We have new PCB, the 2209s are all set at 137 voltage wise, so that gives 1.05 amps based on the formula provided by the manufacturer of the device. So we're seeing random dives and we're seeing random homes. And what I'm noticing is this is the ball screw, this is the linear bearing. This is free. This sticks right here. The limit is here. So it never quite gets to the limit. So what's happening on the high end is sometimes it'll stick up there. That's causing this home problem. On the other end, we have the same problem. It sticks down here. It's about 10 millimeters above where home is. And if we look at the assembly, you can see where it's marked. And if we wind it up, it gets stiff right there. And we wind it down. And it gets stiff right there. Now notice where home is. Home was over here, and home was over here. So this should have gone clear over to here, and so forth. And it's also stiff. You can't move it. But if you get it in the middle, then it's like this. And so it turns freely from here. It seems a little noisy, but that may be problems with what I believe is this lower square bearing. We did remove these 4 screws, and we removed these 4 screws to pull this assembly out. I did not find a clip here. You talked about a clip. I couldn't find one. The bearing is just held in by these 2 screws. And I didn't bother taking it out because it was running freely. I don't think we have a problem in there. You'll notice there's no movement. So it's solid on the shaft. So the problem is the binding at each end. So I think the part we need is the flat bearing here and the rail. Because if I remember right, they come together if they're like my 3D printer. So that's the problem we're trying to solve. And it makes sense when you think about it. The reason why the 2209 went on the original board was because it repeatedly was sticking and drawing too much current. So it was just failing over and stopping. Then we put the new board in, and we noticed the sticking. In terms of lubrication, there's a very light film of white lithium grease, because that's what everybody recommends for putting in these. That, I'm wondering if it's a little too thick. Maybe we should be using something like a 10-weight or 0-weight automotive oil on there, which would be a lot smoother. But as far as resistance for the stepper, the turning, the steppers, if I remember right, are 169 ounces. They have no problem turning this. And you notice it doesn't slip. It stays right in place even without the motor in. So I'm pretty sure that we have the problem is the flat bearing. The other thing is there's actually a lot of slop in this bearing. It's actually the wrong size. This one's correct because when you put the lead screw into the bearing block, there's no side-to-side play. This one actually has side-to-side play. I don't think it affects the accuracy because the big bearing would take precedence over the small bearing. The only thing it would do is it might be noisy. So that's what we know about this. You know, when I first got this machine, I was very pleased with it, and then it just stopped working. It started having all these problems. So my suspicion is there's something wrong with that bottom bearing. Let me know if you have any further questions.